Ravin, particularly on Node, what is your experience?
In Node.js,
Yeah.
approx 5.5.
Yes, you've been working on Node only.
Around 4 to 4.5 node.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on Node, on which framework you have worked on?
Worked on I have worked on Express mainly, and also I am working on Nest also.
Okay. So with Express, I think, as you mentioned, you've been working on Express only. Now you have switched to Next, right?
Yes, because we have created a one service which is in Nest.
Worked on frontend. Actually, the time that I asked you, I lost the connection.
Yes, yeah. I have worked on ReactJS.
Okay. So any particular projects that you have done with React?
I have create I'm the part of the front end also, because if the requirements come from the product, then I feel like it's end to end feature. So I
Okay.
will be my responsibility to deliver that feature from front end, because I have created the backend part, so I can also write the front end logic for that.
Exactly. Okay. So what should I consider your experience with React?
Uh, Around 2 year you can consider, because I know the logic and everything. Like I have worked on the React hooks, and but moreover I am working in the backend.
Okay. And for database for Node.js, on which database you have worked on?
Worked on right now I'm working in MySQL, Postgres, and previously I have worked on Mongo also. And Redis I use, and Cassandra is also I used.
Okay. So if I ask you, what is your experience with MongoDB?
MongoDB around 2 year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you worked on Postgres as well, right?
Yeah, right now I'm working with Postgres, because at OLX all the services are in the using Postgres database.
Okay. And other than JavaScript or maybe TypeScript, have you worked on any other programming
Both,
language other than that?
both.
Only these, right?
No, both JavaScript and TypeScript. I have both worked on both.
Okay. Actually, I was asking, other than JavaScript and TypeScript, have you
Okay,
worked
all
on
right.
any other
Yeah.
programming language?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I have worked on Golang,
Okay.
and around 1.5 year you can consider.
Okay. So was
Yeah,
it any project,
because
any company, or was any
no,
personal?
no, no. In right now, in OLX, we have one service middleware which is written in Golang already. So we are continue to support to that middleware, because we don't have any Golang developer for that. So that's why if the requirements come, because the service is mainly used for the authentication and authorization, managing the routing, and
Okay.
any front end logic will be created from the backend. So we will also include in the Golang also, like with middleware service.
Okay. Fine. Ravin, okay. Can you explain me what is the difference between promise and the callback function?
Yeah, callback is also callback is mainly used for like doing resolving the asynchronous programming into the synchronous way. Suppose if we have two async calls, like DB call, so whenever the data is saved, then the callback is be called, the data is saved, so the other function can use that data, like this is the data is mainly used for the handling asynchronous programming. And promise is also, but promise is like a uh, good syntax over the callback, because it is using a promise chaining, so we can handle the multi-layer we can return in then we can return another promise to chaining the, and also handling the error can be handled using the cache. So this will be the uh, uh, like use of the promise over the callback, because if we have the multiple callbacks, then it will be the create the problem, because it will be like it's not easy to maintain the code, because we don't know upper callback will be the depending on some other thing, and due to like it will create a problem in future.
Okay. And what should we call that problem?
uh pyramid of DOM, basically. The because the inner function, because it will use the access of the inner function, like outer function, lexical scope will be in the inner function, so they can use, and it will create the security problem also, because somehow they can refer in a memory. So
Hmm.
due to that, it will be create the like any garbage collector or any memory leak issue.
Okay. Ravind, can you explain what is callback help?
Callback hell is like this is the callback hell, like multiple nested callback calling inside, as inside the, like
Mhm.
suppose we have the parent child callback calling inside each other, so this is basically callback hell.
Okay. Ravind, if I ask you, async
Okay.
await work synchronously or asynchronously?
Basically, it works synchronously, because we will add a await keyword, so that will be like process all the things. After that, it will be execution will be move further. So it will be do the things in a synchronous manner.
Are you sure it works synchronous?
Suppose if we have the function async, okay, so
Await
inside
makes
that,
synchronous, right? It works
like,
asynchronously, but await makes
yeah,
it synchronous, right?
yeah. That's why, like, if you have the multiple await, so execution will be stop, or like once first function will be completed, then move to the second and then third.
Okay. Ravind, have you worked on Redis?
Yes.
Can you explain me why we use Redis for?
Redis is key value database. It's a NoSQL database, and we can store like any raw data inside that Redis, and mainly we are using for caching caching purposes. Like if we have some static API, which is the large static data, so we will not call again and again to database, like any banner images URL or any like category URL, like main pages. Mainly, it's not changing regularly, so that we can store in a cache, and also we can use for handling the sessions inside. We can store the session ID corresponding to that user information inside the Redis, so easy to handle the session, because every time before checking the talk, like we will check whether the session is exist in our database or not, so it will easy to authorize the user.
Okay.
uh, yeah.
Okay. Ravind, have you worked on Socket.io?
Yeah, I have worked on it's mainly socket connection, creating to socket connection, and it's peer-to-peer connection to sending like data to the front end, and front end also connect to the back end via the pipe. So
Mhm.
we it will be used for like, and it will be like using the like HTTP protocol ports, like 8080 and 443 for the security ports, and they can send the data, or like we can either encrypt data or we can send the normal data.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain me the difference between HTTP connection and sockets connection?
HTTP is required a client and server connection,
Mhm.
where client request to the server only, because server cannot request to the client, right?
Okay.
So client is always request to the server, and the server is responsible for the sending the response to the client. So this is basically HTTP request. Okay. And in the socket connection, where like client and server both can communicate to each other. Either like server can connect to the client and send the some data, whatever the updates come from the like anywhere from the DB or any other services. So send to
Mhm.
data like this is the updated data, and also client can also communicate like I require this data. So basically, it's don't a client server type of connection. It can be both bi-directional connection.
Okay. Um, Raven, as you were mentioning, you were working on microservices, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is microservices and why do we prefer microservices? Try to give a
Yeah.
short answer on it again.
Yeah, all right. It's easy to maintain and easy to scale, and it's like easy to horizontally we can scale.
Mhm.
But in a monolith application, because and also suppose if we have the monolith application, so we cannot scale because at up to limit we can face some issue. And other one is single point failure. If application code breaks, then all entire application will be stopped. But in microservices, like if any service breaks, but somehow our application will be the working.
Okay. Okay.
Any
Yeah. Can you
I
say
can
something?
add more point over this. Yeah,
No,
enough.
that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Okay. Raven, can you explain me what is a middleware?
Middleware is the a process when we like if we get a request in our backend application. So
Mhm.
before going to the handler function like controller, we can change the data in our request or response. We can also response change the data in response also. Like
Mhm.
suppose checking the authorization. Some route is restricted, so we can check in the middleware. Like it's an generic user, so we can process. Suppose profile data. So profile data is profile request goes through the middleware. So middleware will be the identify this is an valid user. So
Mhm.
it's kind of the function running before the handler function, like controller function.
Okay. Fine.
So we can
Okay.
change or update the data in the request and response.
Okay. Fine. Raven, have you worked on Docker Kubernetes? Any of these?
Like I have worked on, but not too much because we have the separate DevOps team, so they will take care of these things. So Docker is mainly used for like like create an image which will require whatever the dependency. Suppose if we have the node application, so we require the node. Yeah.
Well, you continue.
Yeah, in the Docker file, we can mention the state where our image is building. Like we required the node version, or we required any other like Nest CLI version, or whatever the dependencies required for the service to running up. So we can define in the Docker. So Docker will create a bundle of these data and create an image, and where in image Kubernetes will like deploy use for the deploying of that application on that image.
Okay. So, Raven, have you worked on
Yeah.
give me-
Hello.
Raven, give me a minute. Go on.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. Raven, have you worked on Kafka and RabbitMQ?
Kafka I have worked on. Kafka is mainly used as a, it's mainly called a message broker, where like the eventual consistency is required, like not a like fast and like we can say consistency
Mhm.
required. Eventual consistency, because we can delay after like if we have two microservices and we will send a request from one to other using HTTP, so it will create the latency problem and latency issue. So we can resolve this using the message broker, because message broker is also used for transfer the message from one service to another service. And here we Kafka is mainly used for same as a message, like it's a message broker. So in how it's works, we suppose we have the topic
Mhm.
where we like pushing the message over that topic. Suppose we have the auction and we want to send some car information and auction data on auction topic. So all the consumer or all the dependent services, they can consume the data over that topic, like whenever the latest data is published, so they will consume the data on that topic. And like suppose any order information, so our main request will not wait. So we can improve the application performance using this,
Okay.
because if we have the direct http call, that will create the problem in the latency and increase the throughput also.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Uh, Ravind, if I ask you to create any application from
Mm-hmm.
scratch, how will
Mm-hmm.
you make it a secure application? What will you do for its security purpose? Don't brief it
uh
much.
okay.
Just give the small points. What will you do for it?
Okay, security means like we will like
Uh,
uh,
Okay. If I ask you to create only the backend of application, what will be your
mhm.
approach to create a secure backend?
Okay, secure backend means first of all, I will create a, session authenticator, which will like suppose we have the username password for every user, so
Mhm.
they can log in, and after that I will store that session into our like cache, like in Redis, and
Mhm.
next time all the requests come from that user, so we will verify it's a valid request of using the session information and token information, like any JWT token we will use and assign to that user. So every time use that token, so we will verify using JWT verify token, and we can process that request using JWT authentication. I will use
Okay. Okay. Other than JWT, any other module you want to?
Passport.
Okay. Passport
Yes,
for what?
for managing session. Like,
Okay.
are you talking about like securing the servers using firewalls or like that?
I'm just asking if I'll give you any project and if I ask you to create a backend for it. So I just want to know the approach that you're going to follow to make it a secure server. That's it.
Okay. One is like the backend application code security or any
Code
other.
security.
Okay,
Yeah.
code
Okay.
security. Like we can also use encryption, any algorithm hash, mod hash.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. It's okay. Um, Ravin, what do you understand by code reusability?
Reusability, like suppose if we have the file and that will be like we have the function which is used in other like 10 to 15 other controller, using other controller,
Mhm.
so we will not write again and again that code. We will create some utils or some utility folder. For that we can use only that function to call that. No need to write the whole code again and again and again. Like code will be the reusable.
Okay.
Cognitive complexity will be the reduce. Like we can check using a sonar cube, like our code will be the like modular, structured, or
Okay. Okay.
reusable code.
I understand. Okay. Ravin, what do you understand by MVC architecture?
Model view controller.
Yeah.
In models, like we will define our database schemas.
Mhm.
Also, we can also define like foreign key, primary key, or any hooks. And in views, we will define any UIs. And in controller, where the control function is handling the route handler, where like handler function is defined, and we can like also create one more folder, we can say helper function, which
Okay.
is the communication between the database call.
Okay. Fine. Okay, Ravin, I want to share your screen and open any
Yeah.
compiler, be it local, be online one, whichever you want. I'm going to give you some questions. You have to do it.
Okay. All
I will
right.
end
Okay.
this. HR will update you, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.